Scorpio, my loves, I'm very excited with this reading, and I feel as though it could be something that could go on quite a bit. So please bear with me. If it's too long, I'll stop and I'll do a bonus read because I think this is really important for some of you to hear. Okay, so the image that I first got with you, even though you're a water sign, I got you sitting in a beautiful chair, almost throne-like, and you are traveling very gently and slowly in the air, completely stable in this chair, and you have holding out in front of you a compass. Now, the interesting thing about the compass is it's not being guided by anything out there. It's being guided by here, by your heart, okay? This being in your heart, being in your true heart, your deep heart, is showing you exactly where you need to go. This seat that you're sitting in, I hear the words, shivers, the throne of truth. But there's more. It's not just truth, it's integrity. It is clarity. It represents all of the highest expressions of the values you hold. And you are sitting in it. And this is what it feels to me, is that you are being told, this is your true nature. This is where you can exist and operate from. And where many of you are inclined to operate from, are working towards operating from. You have got so many cards here that are about moving forward with this new way of being, or this elevated way of expressing yourself. So listen, here's the thing. Scorpio, we know that you're very determined. We also know that you tend to be very private, and that there is very often a guarded nature, which causes you to be sometimes more than private, but secretive. That can raise alarms with people. We know that you are determined, and when you set your mind to get something done, you do it. And that is an honorable thing, and certainly something we're going to be needing. We also know that when you're operating, I'll just say you, it's not for all Scorpios, this is for some of you. When you are operating from a place of fear, or when you are feeling like you are being blamed for something, almost shamed for being who you are, with your good qualities and your strength and your abilities, when it raises insecurities in people, it can really put you down for it, which then increases more of a sense of contraction for you and creates a distance from them and creates a kind of wall in your heart. Even though your intention is to be in your heart, when you are experiencing the kind of response from the outside world, whether it's people close to you or just within your community, or at this point the world, because the community is pretty big with YouTube and the internet. But when you experience that, it's pretty natural to go into fight, flight, freeze. And that's often what will happen. And when you do that, your frequency lowers because you're in protection mode, and you lose sight of your intuition. You lose sight of that sense that there is a higher power, that there is a force working with you on your behalf and on the behalf of everybody else. Those who I am speaking to now have a sense of service, of wanting to serve. And it's not just specifically, I'm going to read the service card for you because it opens it up a little bit in a way that I think makes it more relatable. This is about assisting others, yourself, the earth and its species, including the human race, regardless of praise or public accolades. It may be through deed or presence alone. It may simply be a way of thinking that permeates all of our normal daily activities. Hold the attitude that the world is a place where we're all here to help each other in some way, and embody that. You're being asked to embrace that energy. I'll hold it up in case you want to take a screenshot. I think you can. I think it's clear. You're being asked to embrace that and to really understand that by maintaining a calm focus, by watching how you speak internally as well as externally, you can really stay in touch with your intuition, and you can move more and more completely away from the burden that has often been placed on you. And when I say the burden that has been placed on you, I'm really talking about the judgment that sometimes has come with that. Now listen, the thing is, the judgment may come because you take over, because you do things, because you become controlling. But a lot of times, the reason you become that way is because the people around you have not done what they needed to do, and so they're willing to let you do it. But then when you look better than them, or smarter than them, or they feel insecure in relation to this, that's part of what can create that sense of, whoops, here we go. Excuse me, choice. Yep, choice, there you go. That can create that sense of isolation for you, because that comes out as a criticism and it comes out as an attack. So what you're being told here is really, you absolutely are in this position right now where if you can learn, it sounds really easy, by choosing to not take the criticism personally, and by absolutely flat out refusing to accept people's negative judgments about you as a statement of character, then you get to start making the choices about how you want to be living, how you want to be serving, when serving, when I say, remember that card, how you want to be in the world. You have got a very, very strong, passionate heart. And it has not always been understood as that because of the tendency to be private/secretive. But you have a deep heart and you have a passionate heart. And when you set your mind to do things, you do them. What you're being told, this image that you've got, this throne and this compass that's being guided by your heart, this is being guided by your true heart. You're being asked, can you take the criticisms less personally? Can you allow yourself to experience the vulnerability without going into fear? And perhaps even experiencing the vulnerability so that you don't go into fear, because fear is usually a response to not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to feel the vulnerability. So you're being asked, okay, step back. Step back for a minute. Where are you feeling as though you're being inappropriately judged or shamed for being who you are? Where have some of your protective mechanisms perhaps created more friction than needed more friction? And where can you, by choosing to say, I'm not going to take it personally, this is about them, and I'm going to focus on the things that I like about them. I'm going to choose to see the good in them, because by seeing the good in them, I can be less afraid and I can be more deliberate in my choice about not taking things personally. However, it is also super important in the process of being able to acknowledge things that you like and being positive. You're getting, say yes, drop the weight. This is all about you having the ability to shift whatever the negative energy was. It does not mean when it says notice what you like about people. That to me goes back to the service card. Okay? That says we are all here to learn and grow. We are all here to learn and grow. And that even though some people may be absolute and total, they are also here to teach and to learn and grow. So we can understand that. We can love them or like them or tolerate them or be neutral about them from that higher perspective of energy. Because remember, your throne, your chair, it's not on the ground, it's in the air. It's a higher frequency, it's a higher field, it's the big heart, the wise heart. The idea is to understand where you're getting pulled down by that energy and where you can let it go, where you can move up. That means also being discerning about people, because sometimes you really just don't want to be around them. If you are being criticized by people who are not giving you a second chance, who you have done good things for, who have perhaps taken advantage, and then kind of blamed you for the position you have taken, yeah, maybe it's time to look at that and let those people go. Or say what you really think about it and decide whether or not by saying these things, these people are going to move them out of your life. Because it's also about you being able to be honest about saying, you know, that's really not okay with me. That's not nice, and I don't think that's fair. It's you owning up to your stuff, what your role was in whatever was going on, and whatever kind of patterns, protective patterns you've created for yourself in life. But it's also really understanding that by virtue of the gifts that you have, the skills that you have, which are there even if you've got some of the more protective and defensive characteristics in there, coming more from an ego stance rather than, a more elevated stance, even then you still have all these great characteristics and capabilities, and people perhaps have taken advantage of them sometimes. But the thing, Scorpio, is it's time for you to lift that up. It's time for you to kind of let go of the story that you have been taken advantage of. It's time for you to say, where do I want to go with this? What do I really want to do with this passion? You have the opportunity to be operating and taking that intense passion and that capability to get things done, that determination and that drive to really do great things with it. And great things, you don't have to be saving the whales, although you might want to because you're a Scorpio. But to be able to apply it to whatever you want to do in your life that is of that higher heart value, that higher heart wisdom. It's really time, it's time for all of us. It doesn't matter what sign we are. We come in with an energetic imprint. And that energetic imprint in the Ayurvedic science is called our Prakriti. And we come in with the strengths and we come in with the weaknesses inherent in that energy. And of course, it's a combination. It's not just our sun sign, it's a combination. But sun sign predominates. That's a predominant energy. So you've got capabilities, you've got strengths, you've got weaknesses. We are all meant to be learning, to lean into our strengths and to honor them and not let what our weaknesses are detract from them. We're meant to learn from whatever our weaknesses are and bring them up so that we can fully embrace and utilize the positive qualities that we've got. That's the process of life. We're not bad for having any of those other qualities, those weaknesses, those things that we need to work on. They're there specifically so that we can expand ourselves. So this is what you're being asked to do. Look into it. You've got grace here. Use discipline as a way to enhance your life, to build the things, to build joy, freedom, and well-being, because that is something, my lovely, lovely Scorpios, you have often not felt a lot of in your life, is joy, freedom, and well-being. You've been shackled with a lot of the responsibilities that have come by virtue of you being able to do things without necessarily having the emotional connection to that higher guidance that allowed you to develop the boundaries in a way that also supported you as well as other people. So now's your chance, my loves. You've got it. You've got this opportunity. Stay calm. The image of this chair, this gently moving chair through time and space it's comforting. It's beautiful. It's like the chair is you sinking into security and the confidence of your strengths and of your noble heart. That's the word that's coming to me. It's your noble heart. You've got a noble heart. So anybody who's told you otherwise because they were confounded by how you manage things, no. Whatever mistakes you've made, and I say mistakes because because we all make them. You have a noble heart and you have the energy to go there. You have the choice to go there. Choose now to let the story of whatever criticisms and negativities and betrayals were there. Choose to let that go. It takes work. Of course it does, because that fear response is so strong. It's strong in all of us. It's your survival mechanism. But when you have gotten a lot of it thrown back at you in your life, it becomes a pattern, right? So you're shifting that pattern. Lean into grace. Lean into grace, grace, grace. Grace is not earned. Grace is a state in which we receive, for no apparent reason, a divine influence which strengthens us in a way that eases whatever problematic or miserable states we find ourselves. Grace need only to be accepted in order to be received. Okay? Grace, grace. That is your anchor card. When you move in grace, when you have calm focus, okay? You can move into your intuition. You can allow your intuition to flood you. And you can then, in that calm focus, say yes to the positive things. Say yes to the things that you want. Say yes to the way you want to experience yourself in the world. Okay? This is really great. I really encourage you, please, when you find yourself getting pulled down in, be in that chair. Be aware of letting your wise and your noble heart guide your compass as to where you want to go. And I remember something that a teacher of mine once said. When the negative, oh yes, and this is important too for you. When we are making changes more towards the positive energy, that's often when what my teacher called the crazy makers would come out of the woodwork. They weren't necessarily crazy people, but they were crazy makers. And it was like they got this this psychic connection that you were shifting your energy and you were no longer going to be dancing with them in that rah, rah, rah. And they come back and they try to get you. And he said, when the crazy makers show up, know you're doing a good job because they're feeling it and they're trying to change it. And the other thing that he also said, it was, when you find that happening, when you find anybody trying to pull you down, or when you find experience pulling you down, just say to yourself, I'm doing a great work now and I can't come down. So you are doing a great work by choosing to stay in your chair. I dare call it a throne. And the throne of your heart, being anchored in your wise heart and letting that move you. Okay, Scorpio? Good for you. Take care. I'll be back next week, I think.